Woody Woodpecker is an American live-action computer-animated family comedy film produced by Mike Elliott and directed by Alex Sam, and based on the cartoon character of the same name created by Walter Lantz and Ben Hardaway. The film was released in Brazil on October 5, 2017. It was released in the US on DVD on February 6, 2018. Plot is as follows. In the Pine Grove Forest of Pennsylvania, Woody Woodpecker, voiced by Eric Bauzu, is awoken by gunshots from outside. Meanwhile, two sneaky taxidermist poachers, brothers Nate and Otis Grimes, are hunting for birds in the forest. Woody toys with the Grimes brothers as they try to tranquilize him, but in doing so, they inadvertently shoot each other and fall to the ground. Hundreds of miles away in Seattle, Lance Walters, Tim Olmanson, is a lawyer who believes that big projects are the next big thing. Unfortunately, he suddenly gets fired after an insulting video of him claiming that wildlife conservation isn't profitable goes viral. He tells his girlfriend that his late grandfather left him a big piece of property near the Canadian border. His aim is to build an investment home and flip it, but his ex-wife Linda, Emily Holmes, tells him he needs to start spending time with his son Tommy, Graham Verschern, as her father is in the hospital in Philadelphia. To their dismay, Lance and Vanessa bring Tommy along, regardless of the fact that Tommy still isn't comfortable with his dad's job. As soon as they arrive, Park Ranger Samantha Bartlett informs them to be careful when they are building their property, as there have been complaints of bird poaching in the past year. Lance and Vanessa dismiss the warning as they start to unpack. Tommy begins to go for a walk in the woods. Whilst listening to music, he has rhythmic tapping around him. Suddenly, Woody, who witnessed the group's arrival, pops out from a trash can and is befriended by Tommy after he gives them peanut butter crackers. The mischievous bird visits the family at lunchtime and eats almost all the food. Lance tries to shoo Woody away, but accidentally wrecks the table and hits Vanessa in the face of a brush. The next morning, builders and construction workers arrive on the site, rudely awakening Woody. Realizing that the tourists are apparently moving in on his turf, Woody finally has enough and begins to invade their businesses. As for Vanessa, Woody poops on her head. Later, in a nearby town, Tommy meets a young musician named Jill, and they immediately become friends after she makes a deal with him. Tommy gets to play the guitar as long as he joins her, Jill's band, in the annual Firefly Festival. On his way home, he is met by two bullies who are about to beat him up when suddenly their clothes are shredded by Woody, who comes to Tommy's aid. As the days pass, Lance grows more agitated by the minute because of Woody's intrusion while he is busy with his project. So he goes to meet Samantha at the ranger station, and she reveals that the woodpecker is an endangered species known as the pileated woodpecker with a red crown. She also tells Lance that long ago, Native Americans saw the birds as a god of mischief and chaos. As a result, the tribe fled the area. Lance believes the story and continues with his work, no matter the cost. Elsewhere, the Grimes continue to search for Woody after their previous encounter. After seeing Woody vandalize his car and pooping from the trees, Nate finally sees red and decides to go find him at all costs. Meanwhile, construction of the building, Vanessa is in the RV making coffee. Woody decides to blow out the active gas and flees to a safe distance. Seconds later, the camper explodes due to exposed, odorless gas, leaving Vanessa's hair scorched and ripped off, with her screaming in horror. Therefore, this leads to her leaving Lantz, all because of the pesky birds invading boundaries. A couple of weeks before the festival, Samantha gives Lantz some very interesting advice. Instead of fighting with the bird, he could try to get along. The following day, Lantz reluctantly attempts to surrendering to Woody by giving him crackers. And so Woody agrees to let Lantz and the builders continue with the work as long as he is given crackers every day. Eventually, the home is completed despite excessive payment and extended scheduling. After dinner, the boys and Woody head to the town's Firefly Festival where Tommy's band are due to perform. Excuse me, I did burp there. Although due to indigestion from a hot dog eating contest, Lyle, their drummer, forfeits the performance without Tommy and Jill. Regretfully, the two remaining band members decide to play on without Lyle. Early into the show, Woody finds that they have no back seat and gives them a helping hand by creating his own drum kit with garbage. The performance is a hit, and Lantz is surprised to hear that Woody gave Tommy some friendly support. Ranger Bartlett, however, is shocked to find that the father-son duo have actually been neighbors with the supposedly endangered woodpecker that was due to be extinct in the last century. Realizing that having humans around again isn't a bad idea, Woody heads back to the investment home and carves a mural above the fireplace. However, as he signs his name into the carving, exposed wiring sparks Woody, knocking him out. As he comes to, he finds to his horror that the whole house has been inadvertently burst into flames. Ashamed of his accidental misstep, he flies back to his tree. The next morning, the boys are appalled by the devastation caused overnight. When Lantz gets back, he accuses Woody of this catastrophe just when he was starting to like him. The Grimes brothers are called over by the infuriated dad who tase him unconscious. As they leave, Woody reprimands his father for not understanding why it wasn't Woody's fault and therefore runs away. Just having a drink here. Momentary pause. Later, Tommy, Jill, and Lyle head to the crime shack in the woods to rescue Woody. Meanwhile, Nate and Otis begin to sell Woody at an online black market auction with a final bid for close to $1 million. Elsewhere, whilst longingly looking through the wreckage, Lantz is stunned to see a single mural that Woody had created. Feeling guilty for his rash accusation of the woodpecker, he begins to enlist help from Samantha, and together they set off to find both Woody and Tommy, who were now caged inside the conniving Poachers' cabin after getting caught. As they arrive at the scene, they too are immediately locked up, and Lantz apologizes to his son for not believing him at first about the truth of the thieves, and as Nate grabs a tranquilizing dart filled with deadly poison and loads it in his gun, Lantz tilts his cage upwards towards Woody so he can free him. After a beat down on the brothers, Woody gives them chase as they first flee the approaching group. When they make a run for the border connecting to Canada, Woody blocks their way, but Nate grabs a knife and Woody flies off scared. But then the mischievous woodpecker carves a hole in the fall into the river below. Soon after, the thieves come ashore and insanely beg to be arrested as they claim the woodpecker to be crazily responsible. Later, Lance, Tommy, and Samantha reconcile, and Lance apologizes to Woody for not knowing that the previous home he burnt was an accident. Therefore, he replaces Woody's cut-down tree with a birdhouse. The woodpecker accepts both the gift and the group to be called his new family, much to their generosity. That night, as father and son fall asleep, Woody carves the words "Home Sweet Home" into the new birdhouse, only to accidentally make it topple onto the boys' tent. He flies away with his trademark laugh, thus indicating the end of the film. If I may, I will now do my impression of Woody Woodpecker and his famous laugh. And I thought that was a very fine summary, I will say. Although I did think it was perhaps a little long and could have been shortened just slightly. Eric Bazoo as the voice of Woody Woodpecker, a mischievous, rare, belated woodpecker. Timothy Edmondson as Lance Waters, a Seattle lawyer. Tommy's dad and Lindsay's ex-husband. Valia Ai as Vanessa, Lance's girlfriend. Graham Versace as Tommy Waters, Lance's son. He befriends Woody when he visits him. Jordan Largy as Samantha Bartlett, a park ranger at the Pine Grove National Park. Scott McNeil as Scott Grimes, an evil poacher who plans to sell Woody on the black market. He serves as the main antagonist of the film. Adrian Glenn McMorrin as Scott as Grimes, a dim-witted poacher who's Nate's partner and younger brother. Chelsea Miller as Jill Ferguson, a musician who becomes Tommy's friend. Emily Holmes as Wanda Waters, Tommy's mom and Lance's divorced wife. Jacob Davies as Lyle, Jess Harrell as Buzz Buzzard, Townsend Coleman as Wally the Morris. A reception of the film. This is our final section. As of I'm just turning my head around there. As of February 8th, 2018, Woody Woodpecker has grossed $10.9 million. It debuted at $1.5 million, finishing second at the Brazilian box office behind Blade Runner 2049. While the movie increased by 45.4% in its second weekend, moving to first place to $2.1 million. Thank you very much for listening to my summary of the 2017 film Woody Woodpecker. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you didn't cum your pants super hard while I was reading it in my special ASMR edition of the film. Personally, I thought this was a really tremendous film, and I thought Lassiter from television's Psychic, Timothy Olmanson, gave an outstanding performance, and I do hope that he gets better soon and makes a swift recovery from that stroke he's suffering from. I thought the kid actor was a real piece of shit, and I could have done without him, and I did think that Woody Woodpecker was a violent maniac, and I disliked his character immensely. Well, as Winnie the Woodpecker would say, that's all, folks.